Today here we are studying the subject power electronics and PLC, and it is for the 5th semester electrical and electronics diploma engineering students. So today the topic is two transistor model of a thyristor. Two transistor model of a thyristor means you already taught in the previous sessions that the thyristor layer diagram is like this. P N P N. This is anode, cathode, gate. This is the layer diagram of the thyristor. So in two transistor model, the thyristor principle of operation can be explained by the use of two transistor model of a thyristor or two transistor analogy of thyristor. So before going to the explanation part, we need to know how the thyristor layer diagram converted into the two transistor model. Okay, so to obtain the two transistor model, first we need to bisect the two middle layers. So first we bisect the two middle layers like this. The dotted line is the bisection of the two middle layers. Okay, so after bisecting the two middle layers along the dotted line, then I draw this diagram in two separate form. See, so to obtain the two transistor model, first we need to bisect the two middle layers along with the dotted line in two separate half. In this figure I just separate out the two separate sections after bisecting. Here this is junction J1, J2, J3. Here also this is J1, J2. This is J2, J3. Here the current is IA. This is IK. This is IG. And here this is current IG. This is IA. This is IK. This is IC2. This is IC1. So this is the two separate half of this layer diagram of thyristor. In this figure, junction J1 and J2 and J2 and J3 can be considered to constitute two different transistors separately. Here junction J1 and J2 form a transistor named PNP. Here junction J2 and J3 formed another transistor, that is NPN. Okay, here this diagram constitute two separate transistors PNP and NPN. The circuit representation of two transistor model is I will draw here. Anode, cathode gate. This is IA, this is IG, this is IK. This is Q1 and this is Q2. Okay, so its parameters. See, this is the circuit representation of the two transistor model. This is the layer representation of two transistor model. This is circuit representation of two transistor model. Here let this is Q1 and let this is Q2. So PNP constitute named as Q1. So PNP. Now this is NPN is Q2. So I write here NPN. This is Q2. So PNP constitute Q1 transistor, NPN constitute Q2 transistor. So its parameters are, let alpha 1, beta 1, this is the gain, current gain. Here for transistor Q2 it is alpha 2, beta 2. For this transistor Q1, IB1 represent base current and IC1 represent collector current. For transistor Q2, IB2 represent base current and IC2 represent collector current. Okay. So this is the circuit representation of two transistor model. Clearly understood? And in between these two transistors, junction J2 is the common transistor, common junction. So junction J2, I represent here junction J2 like this because junction J2 is in between NP and here NP. So junction J2 is in between NP and here NP. So this is J2. So this is the two transistor model, circuit representation of two transistor model. So now in the off state of a transistor, the collector current IC is related to emitter current by the equation IC. In the off state of the transistor, the collector current IC is related to emitter current IE like this. IC is equal to alpha IE plus ICBO. IC collector current, alpha current gain, IE emitter current, ICBO collector base leakage current. Okay, where alpha is the common base current gain. Alpha is the common base current gain. ICBO is the common base leakage current of collector base junction of transistor. So you already know alpha is equal to IC by IE and beta is equal to IC by IB. This is less than 1 and this is unity 1. This is more than 1. Okay. So alpha is the common base current gain, ICBO is the common base leakage current of the collector base junction of a transistor. So I erase this part now. So from the circuit representation part, now we will study the operating principle of thyristor by the help of two transistor model. So to understood or to explain the operating principle of thyristor, we need to derive these equations through two transistor model. So for transistor Q1, see, for transistor Q1, this is the Q1 transistor Q1, emitter current is which one? Emitter current is which one? This is base, this is collector, this is emitter. For this transistor, this is base, and this is collector, and this is emitter. Okay, so here emitter current IE is equal to which one? Anode current IE is equal to IA. And for the transistor Q1, collector current IC is equal to IC1. Therefore, this equation we will represent here. So IC1 equal to alpha IA plus ICBO1. Clear? Here alpha 1 is the common base current gain of Q1. This is alpha 1. Okay, alpha 1 is the common base current gain of Q1. Similarly, ICBO1 equal to common base leakage current of Q1. Understood? So now same thing we will do for transistor Q2. Again, for transistor Q2, see, this is the transistor Q2. Here this is the base, this is collector, and this is emitter. For transistor Q2, emitter current IE is equal to IK. Collector current IC is equal to IC2. Okay, so again here we will represent this equation, IC equation here. That means IC2 is equal to alpha 2 IK plus ICBO2. Clear? So here also alpha 2 is equal to common base current gain of Q2. ICBO2 is the common base leakage current of Q2, and IK is the emitter current of Q2. Okay, so the sum of these two collector currents, IC1 and IC2, is equal to the external circuit current IA. See, this is IA. If I take this part as a whole inside part of thyristor, because thyristor has only 3 terminals, anode, cathode, gate. So these two transistor analogy is inside this thyristor. So if I take whole this circuitry inside of the thyristor, then overally anode current, this is anode current, this is the sum of two collector current, IC1 and IC2. So here the sum of collector current is equal to external circuit current IA at terminal A. Now IA is equal to IC1 plus IC2. So IA is equal to, I have IC1 equation here and IC2 equation here. So I put these equations here. Alpha 1 IA plus ICBO1 plus alpha 2 IK plus ICBO2. So again, you know, Ik is equal to Ia plus Ig. If I apply gate current, that means this is the thyristor, this is gate, this is anode, this is cathode. Okay, so already when gate current here, if gate current applied, then Ik, this is the cathode, this is anode, here Ik is equal to Ia plus Ig. Okay, so if I put this Ik value, Ik equation here, okay, after applying the expression, like the expression becomes Ia is equal to alpha 1 Ia plus ICBO1 plus alpha 2 Ik is the Ia plus Ig plus ICBO2. Okay, so now from this equation, if I derive Ia, then Ia becomes alpha 2 Ig plus ICBO1 plus ICBO2 divided by 1 minus alpha 1 plus alpha 2. This is the derivation of Ia from this equation. After applying value of Ia plus Ig, you derive this Ia equation, and you found Ia is equal to alpha 2 Ig plus ICBO1 plus ICBO2 divided by 1 minus alpha 1 plus alpha 2. So this is the Ia equation. Clearly understood? Ia equation. Now see for silicon transistor, current gain alpha is very low. Alpha is less than 1. So alpha is the IC by IE. Okay, alpha is low at low emitter current. That means when emitter current value is minimum, then alpha value is also minimum. So if I increase this IE term, if I increase this IE term, then the whole IC by IE term will increase. That means alpha will increase, alpha build up. Okay, so with gate current Ig is equal to 0, and with thyristor forward biased, alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is very low. So initially when Ig, because at starting we will not apply any gate current, only our thyristor is in forward biased mode, that is anode positive, cathode negative, gate is equal to 0. At this condition and in this equation Ig is 0, that's why Ia is equal to ICBO1 plus ICBO2 divided by 1 minus alpha 1 plus alpha 2. Here this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 is very low. Okay, alpha 1 and alpha 2 is very low, and forward leakage current somehow more than ICBO1 plus ICBO2. Okay, if by some means, if we increase the emitter current of the two component transistor, okay, by some means if we increase the emitter current of these two transistors, then this alpha 1 and alpha 2 also approaches to unity. That means the whole alpha 1 plus alpha 2 approaches to unity. Because see, if I increase emitter current of Q1, then here alpha 1 is approaches to unity. If I increase the emitter current of Q2, then alpha 2 approaches to unity. Then this whole term alpha 1 plus alpha 2 approaches to unity. Once alpha 1 plus alpha 2 approaches to unity, 1 minus 1 is equal to what? 0. So something by 0 tends to what? Infinity. That means Ia would tend to become infinity. IA tend to infinity. Okay, so once IA tend to infinity, that means the device turn on. That means this thyristor device IM is anode current. If anode current reaches towards infinity level, then the device turn on. So once the device turn on, that means IA current flows and its value rises towards infinity. This anode current limited by only the external load connected to the power circuit, which I already show you in the previous classes. So anode current, to limit the anode current to a safe value, we will use external load. Okay, so the method of turning on thyristor are in this in this two transistor analysis. What you analyze, that the method of turning on the thyristor is the method of making alpha 1 plus alpha 2 to approach unity. Okay, so here in two transistor analogy, after analyze this two transistor model of thyristor, you get this expression of IA. So here IA totally depends on this alpha 1. So here we use different methods. That means if we want to turn on the thyristor, we use different methods to make this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 approach unity, because once this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 approaches to unity, IA tend to infinite. So here we will study various mechanism for turning on the thyristor. That means here we will study different types of turn on methods of thyristor in the two transistor analogy, that how in different methods alpha 1 and plus alpha 2 approaches to unity. Clear? So next we will study different or various mechanism for turning on thyristor. Okay, so now we will study the various mechanism of turn on of thyristor under two transistor analogy, under two transistor model. Okay, so under two transistor analogy, we described or we conclude that the thyristor can turn on with the rise of alpha 1 plus alpha 2. So here mainly IA equation we derive that alpha 2 Ig plus ICBO1 plus ICBO2 by 1 minus alpha 1 plus alpha 2. So from the two transistor analogy, we conclude that the anode current depends on this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 term. So by rising this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 towards unity or approaches to unity, the anode current tends to infinity. So once the anode current tend to infinite, that means the thyristor turn on, and it can be in forward conduction state or on state. So under different turn on methods or different turn on mechanism, first we will describe for gate triggering method. So in gate triggering method, what happens? Initially, this is the thyristor, anode, cathode, gate. In gate triggering method, from the starting, anode is in forward bias mode. That means anode positive, cathode negative, and here gate current is 0. So under gate triggering method, what we do? We apply gate signal. See, so before applying gate signal, so with the anode positive with respect to cathode and with gate current 0, see what happens at this equation. The anode current equals to, when anode positive and when anode positive and cathode negative and gate is Ig equal to 0. So at this stage, anode current is equal to the forward leakage current. These two are forward leakage current. Okay, but here in practical case, the anode current is somehow more than the ICBO1 plus ICBO2. That means anode current is more than these common base leakage currents. That means ICBO1 plus ICBO2. Ig is 0, so the remaining terms are like this. So so anode current, when gate signal is 0, anode current is equal to and somehow more than the forward leakage current, that is ICBO1 plus ICBO2. So at this stage the device is in off state or forward blocking state. Okay, so now the device is in off state. So what we need to do to turn on the device? Now we apply a sufficient gate drive current between gate and cathode circuit of the transistor. Now we apply gate signal between gate and cathode circuit of the transistor. This gate drive current is now equal to C. Now we apply gate signal. So once we apply gate signal, here Ig is equal to this IB2, because Ig represent or Ig works as the base current for Q2. Okay, so now I can write IB2 is equal to Ig. This now Ig applied. Once Ig applied or once gate drive current applied, this gate drive current is act as a base current for transistor Q2. Okay, and also initially what happens, the device is in off state. That means there is no flow of anode IA current from anode to this cathode. That means once I apply gate drive current, this gate drive current act as base current for transistor Q2, and this base drive current also flows towards this cathode K. That's why here and here also this K act as a emitter for Q2. Okay, so now here this IB2 is equal to Ig. Here also IE2 is equal to IK is equal to Ig. Base current is also Ig, emitter current is also Ig for transistor Q2. Okay, for transistor Q2. So with the establishment of emitter current, for Q2, current gain alpha 2 of Q2 increases. So here see, I already told you, after the establishment of emitter current, this whole term will change. That means the alpha change. If IE increase, that means alpha is also increases, because the whole term increases. So the emitter current IK of transistor Q2 established, and then the current gain alpha 2 of Q2 increases. That means with the establishment of emitter current of Q2, the current gain alpha 2 of transistor Q2 increases. That means emitter current rises means alpha 2 rises. Okay, so after the alpha 2 rises, what happens? Now the base current IB2 causes the existence of collector current IC2. See here, base current developed, emitter current developed. That means now IC2, the collector current for transistor Q2 is also exist. That means now the collector current for transistor Q2, that is IC2 is equal to, you know, from this equation IC is equal to beta IB. So beta 2 IB2. So I can write beta 2 IG. Okay. So hence now there is existence of collector current IC2. So this amplified the current this amplified current IC2, this collector current IC2 serve as the base current for transistor Q1, that is IB1. Okay, this current serves as base current for Q2. Base current for Q1. See, this is connected. Whatever the IC2 flow through this path, this is also connected through this line. That means whatever current IC2, that the same current is for IB1. So now for Q1, now IC2 is equal to IB1. Okay, this is for Q1. So once IC2 is equal to IB1, that means I can say IC1 is equal to beta 1 IB1 is equal to beta 1 IB1. IB1 means IC2. I can put here IC2, that is equal to IC2 is here beta 2 IG. So beta 1 beta 2 IG. Clear? So with the flow of IB1, collector current IC1, that is equal to beta 1 beta 2 IG of Q1 comes into existence. Okay, so for Q1 IB1 exists, now IC1 is also exist. Okay, so once with the flow of IB1, collector current IC1 comes into existence, current IB1 and IC1 lead to the establishment of emitter current for Q1. See, once IC1 and IB1 exist, then there is establishment of emitter current IE, and this IE is here equal to IA. Okay, this is emitter current for Q1, and once emitter current established, there is establishment of, or there is rise of alpha 1. Okay, so now I can write IE1 is equal to IC1 plus IB1. This IE1 is equal to IA. So establishment of emitter current, this establishment of emitter current rises the alpha value towards unity. So after the establishment of emitter current for Q1, there is rise of alpha 1. There is a rise in the value of current gain alpha 1. Okay, so after this part, what happens? Now the current IG becomes IG plus IC1, because once there is establishment of IC1, IB1 and then IE1, now again here IC1 established, that means now the IG is added up with IC1 value. So now the value becomes, see, I separate this part. Now here IG plus IC1 gate current. Initially the gate current is IG, now IG plus IC1. This total part is act as IB2. So I can write IB2 is equal to this much. Okay. Now the current IG plus IC1 act as base current for the transistor Q2. So again I can write IG plus IC1. What is IC1? That is beta 1 beta 2 IG. So take IG common, that means IG into 1 plus beta 1 beta 2. Clear? So once there is IB2, that means there is increase in emitter current also. So here also IE2, I can write this is act as the emitter current. IE2 is equal to IK is equal to IC1 plus IG. So Once there is the rise in emitter current for Q2, there is establishment of alpha 2. With the rise in I emitter current for Q2 IE2, then there is rise in alpha 2 value. Once there is alpha 2 rises and IE2 established, that means there is IE developed, IB developed. Here IE2, IB2, that means once there is IB2, that means there is also IC2, that is equal to beta 2 into IB2. I can write this is IB2 value is this much. If I apply this value here, beta 2 into IG into 1 plus beta 1 beta 2. Okay, see what you observe from this part. Once the current Ig plus IC1 act as the base current of Q2, and therefore its emitter current IK is equal to IC1 plus Ig, then there is the rise in the emitter current. This is the rise in emitter current. Here IK, here IK is, here it is Ig, here it is IC1 plus Ig. Then there is rise in emitter current. This rise in emitter current, after what happened with the rise in emitter current for Q2, there is alpha 2 of Q2 increases, and this further causes IC2 is equal to beta 2 into Ig into 1 plus beta 1 into beta 2. So after rise in emitter current, there is rise in alpha 2, then there is rise in IC2. Okay, as amplified current IC2 is equal to the base current of Q1, rise in IC2 means amplified collector current of Q2 act as base current for Q1. Then the current gain alpha 1 again further rises towards the infinity level. Then there is established a regenerative action internal to the device. That means we apply gate here, establishment of emitter current, then rising of alpha value, and then again establishment of IC2, then again establishment of its base current, then again establishment of its IC, then again establishment of its emitter current, then again rises in the value of alpha 1, then again this Ig added with IC1, then again it acts as a base current for this Q2, again establishment of emitter current, so rise in alpha 2, then again this tends to this rise in IC2, then again this acts as base current for this transistor. So this perform one kind of regenerative action internal to the device. This regenerative or positive feedback effect causes alpha 1 plus alpha 2 to grow towards unity. So this total process grows alpha 1 plus alpha 2 towards unity. Okay. As a consequence, anode current begins to grow towards a larger value, let it be towards to infinity. Once this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 rises towards unity, that means if this rises towards unity, 1 minus 1 is 0, something by 0 is the infinity. That means anode current begins to grow towards infinity, and this anode current now limited by the load impedance only, and the load impedance which is external to the device. Okay, when regeneration has grown sufficiently, this regeneration process, when grown sufficiently, the gate current can be withdrawn. Once this regeneration process grows sufficiently, we can remove this gate current, because even after Ig is removed, regeneration continues. Okay, these characteristics of thyristor makes it suitable for pulse triggering. So note that here the thyristor is the latching device. Okay, So after the thyristor is turned on, all the four layers means this is P, N, P, N, gate, anode, cathode. So after the thyristor is turned on, all the four layers are filled with charge carriers, and all the junctions are forward bias. So after turn on of this device, J1 and initially J1 and J3 forward bias, only J2 has the characteristics of reverse bias, but after turning on the device, J2 is also in conduction mode. That's why J1, J2, J3 all are in forward bias. Under these conditions, thyristor has very low impedance and now the thyristor is in forward on state or forward conduction state. So with this from this we analyze that in this two transistor analogy, by increasing this alpha 1 plus alpha 2 value, anode current tends to infinity, and then device is in forward conduction state or on state. Okay, so here you can understood how by applying gate signal here, by applying gate signal, how the alpha 1 plus alpha 2, how the alpha current gain of this transistor Q1 and Q2 will rises towards unity, and how this value rises towards unity, and how IA tends to infinity. Okay, clearly understood about the gate triggering mechanism under two transistor